Alright guys, back with another video. This time we're going to be going over the format. After this past regional, I did see a lot of interesting things that were posted, deck profiles that were interesting to me, and I wanted to go over the importance of these four decks and how they correlate to each other and the types of decks you can play in this format. The format is very wide open with the leader choice, but strategies that counter these decks are abundant. But there are a few problems with some of these strategies because they have basically silver bullets when you're playing against certain decks. For example, the Porunga deck is pretty much a auto win against most Janemba decks. I'll go into detail about that in a second. So I'll show you the list that I created with Porunga. If you know what Porunga does, is the standard tap and get 2 Dragon Balls, get 7 Dragon Balls in your drop area, and you get to flip them over. So standard Shenron ramp plays, objection on turn 3 into Whis from your drop, and then you get to play more and more ramp things as we go with the trunks. If you haven't seen this list before, it's like Brandon Scott's, but I changed it with some of the draft box cards here. Ultra Instinct. Basically, it's a Goku's 20k, has super defensive card, bounces something with barrier, draws a card. Pretty good against the mirror match. Super good card because it's a Goku. It fuses for Gogeta 7, and it plays the standard stuff. Basically, if you haven't seen these deck profiles before, you can go check it on Android's channel. I got Zeno buttons, just like he did. And then I teched in the Dangerous Journey Bulma to make the Janemba matchup even easier. But nonetheless, using 1-star ball when you're playing against those decks and discarding your Super Dragon Ball to make sure you awaken early. Pretty good against Janemba, allow them to mill your Dragon Balls and your combo pieces you want in your drop area. Also implemented more idle cost Vegeta so that could easily fuse earlier and potentially win the game earlier, which is pretty cool. So it's pretty much a standard deck. Put your things in the drop area, ramp up to 8, play Victory Strike in combination with Gogeta 7 at the same time, because Porunga's wish is to free world peace, which is pretty powerful and it almost guarantees you game. If you go Gogeta 7 into Victor Strike, there's very, very few ways to be able to survive that. You have to have a counterplay card true after the Gogeta 7, and then even then, you still may lose because this is the way the deck plays. Extra ramp with the trunks. But what's important about this deck is not the fact that it is a Shenron deck, is the fact that it does not care about counterplay cards as much. It does get hindered by a few of them, but I don't really want to go into too much detail about that part. But it's just the fact that the deck is basically a self-playing deck. You just play your normal things. You really don't care about what your opponent's doing. The only thing you have to worry about is really playing defense against the early aggression. And then once you get into the later game, it's pretty easy to defend with UI Goku, Whis' Coercion, button to combo away your Whis and your other cards that you want in the drop area already. You don't really need the power combo up higher because your boss monsters just wipe your opponent's hand out and are already big. It's pretty straightforward. Anyways, so I'll show you the other decks in the format and why they do have a chance of beating these decks and this type of deck, but it is really hard for Janemba to deal with it because they don't care about the mill that much. Anyways, so Janemba, if you haven't seen the blue, yellow, green builds, it's not a perfect list. It's just someone I've found online. I did feel like creating one exactly like the other one myself. They changed the super combos up a little bit. I don't know why, and some of the ratios are a little different, and they play God Strike Beerus. Anyways, the importance of this deck. This deck plays without playing battle cards. You don't need to worry about playing battle cards, so you don't care about counterplay battle cards that much because you're counterplaying on your opponent's turn, and you don't care. You don't actually need to play anything. Now, mill 2 and your opponent's mill 2, and then you don't really care about damaging them or milling. Your win con is fulfilling itself by just putting it with your leader, which is pretty cool in the sense that if your none of the format understands how to play against this deck or what decks auto kill this deck. Because if we start playing Porunga and other decks like this and certain Shenron variants, you won't see as many Janemba players playing anymore because they can't deal with this. The Janemba deck can't deal with Porunga. And there are ways to beat it with the current other decks. For example, U6. They can beat Janemba pretty easily after starting TNs and Fu, but the Janemba deck doesn't just die to this because the RNG factor is a very big deal when you're playing Broly and other decks like it with the aggression. If your opponent mills out your key side deck cards because you only sided a few of them, for example the 5 here, and you don't TN at an opportune time, you may be in for a bad experience. So also, see, this is a standard U6 deck for the most part. They may have changed a few things up, but this is a list I found on the website. They did have a control version too, but I didn't really click on that one. But this is a standard Broly deck. Really can be aggressive, really aggressive early on. Kill turns around turn 4, sometimes 5. That's why you got the secret rare there, and it can shut down all your opponent's energy and then wipe the game out if you get that late in the game. Standard aggression, and then it has 2 Nimbus take, I guess, for other aggro decks. And you got the beans, which are either aggressive or for aggro or for being aggressive yourself. Free wins with Mira and getting your opponent free damage. It's pretty neat. The deck has a little bit of counterplay, as you see, but mainly it's just a super aggressive deck. But so you got the aggro, you got the counterplay, and then you have a mix of aggro counterplay in Pan. Now Pan plays on your opponent's turn and on your turn. So cool thing about Pan is even the mono red version, which Tim played, which index 3 Denial Hope, and is playing no mock speed or anything like that, but it's playing combo into play battle cards, which are super powerful against the counterplay decks. So we have a lot of ways to play on your opponent's turn and or be aggressive. Now these combo into play cards I've stated before in my other videos are super powerful against the counterplay decks, which help you deal with Janemba. But I'm not sure why everybody's playing like a low count on these cards, because I feel like they do need to be up to a 3 or 4 slot into your deck, because they allow you to play battle cards that don't really care about your opponent having stuff. For example, Bodyguard Legend and other free battle cards are super powerful because after you play them, you still have a play afterwards if they do counterplay, because you haven't used any of your energy. And common to play on your opponent's turn, you didn't waste any of your energy on your turn, and then you get to play another battle card on your turn. So if you're only playing battle cards because your opponent's not playing combo to play battle cards, you're at a super strong advantage, especially in the mirror matches where its counterplays are very important, not just the Janemba matchup, because other decks play counterplay cards as well. For example, the green Clash Coup and other red-green decks are very common for Vegeta. Any deck that plays Vegeta the Cruel or Champa. So the blue-yellow decks like Haruding on blue-yellow as well. So are negates falling out of favor? This is one thing I want to talk about. A lot of decks are not really playing that many negates anymore. I have seen some decks playing like multiple like Power Burst and Weezy's Coercion, which they're just trying to survive so they can Shinron triple attack you with Gogeta. But are they really necessary against a lot of decks? I know that the U6 deck does struggle whenever you're negating their Miras and their Champavatos, which because they need to get their, like, whenever they're attacking, try to put Champavatos on the board because it does stop them. But they can just do it on your turn, so it's not really that good. But it's very good to negate certain cards, but a lot of cards don't really need negates unless it's D-Magic. I feel like D-Magic is the best negate in the format. Time Magic's pretty good too, and Nimbus is coming back into play. I'm not sure how good it is, but Zamasu plays a bunch of them. But just want to show you that the format is super wide open right now. We got counterplay decks that don't play counterplays, like Toa. I should have shot Toa, but Toa doesn't play any counterplays, as you know. It's a mono black deck, and just tries to take out your board and take out your hand slowly but surely, and make it to where you can't win because it has the Godstrike Beerus effect on the backside. But all of these decks have weaknesses. Early aggression from the Toa is pretty weak against it. And if you can maintain keeping time regulars off the board with the Vegeta the Cruel, which is the one reason why I didn't do so well at the last event, because almost every deck that was playing counterplays played Vegeta the Cruel. But I feel like a lot of things are going to shift. Toa is going to have to start being more aggressive, trying to win with sort of like Jordan Marco's build. And those decks are not going to be too worried about keeping your board clear or anything like that. They need to just make sure they're trying to be really aggressive with mirror and crits. But thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. this segment of the format and why it's super wide open and what you need to expect going into your next tournament. And once again, thank you to Ryan for editing my videos. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And it's new to me and new for you guys on my channel. So I'll see you guys next time on the episode of